Welcome back to the LJL, guys. We are here with Sam, also known as Initialize, Mr.
Hello.
LEC, and with Mass Swan. How are you guys doing today?
A little tired, a little shell shocked for probably relatively obvious reasons.
That was such an honest tired, by the way.
It's been a long few days.
Oh my god, alright. Oh,
Okay, I think we've got a
yep.
very distinct energy bar with Lara's like, yo, I'm the host, I'm here to control things. Me like, yeah, I'm really excited to be here. It's been a long few days, but really excited. And there's Lexi who's just like dropped off the edge into the hype abyss. I don't know whether we're getting
I
it
mean,
back
I
anytime
appreciate
soon.
that you're this hyped for a V3 game, so, I feel like it could be worse. Apologizing to everyone at home that had their volumes on max. I hope you are
Oh,
doing okay,
God,
sincerely.
Chris. What have you
Days without win for
done?
V3 Esports. That's right.
Oh,
163 days. Will today
oh,
be the day,
gosh.
guys?
They are 0 and 31 so far this split.
Right.
They have got 11 games, if I've done my maths correct, left in
Correct.
the season to pick up a win. They've had a break. We saw some games a couple weeks ago where they honestly were really close to getting wins and couldn't close it out.
Yeah.
I'm still going to hold to this. I don't know whether at this point it's a dying hope or a dead hope, frankly, at this point. But I think it's almost impossible to go entirely winless in a split. Surely they've got to get one.
And who would it be against?
CGA, probably, let's be real.
Yeah, that's true, actually, even though, what we just saw wasn't. No. Oh. That's true. Not anymore. All right, well, maybe they are crap out of luck, and that sucks. But let's take a look at let's think of the summer break. They had a little bit over a week to either prepare or think about any other solutions that they could come up with, to make V3 a more competitive team in this league. If you guys were V3, what would you have done in this, amount of time that you had basically free to do anything you could? And starting off with Sam, go ahead.
So imagine it's February, the 14th just gone by. You need to kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. Like just play it as like easy as you can make it. Get your comps to be as straightforward as you can, as proactive as you can with easy go buttons, and use that to try and prop up some of the synergy issues you've been having, particularly in the mid and late game. We know this team can play some decent early games. We've seen them got the
Right.
coordination there. I just need to see them make it much easier for them to close out in the later game, especially against a team like AXZ, who are a little bit further down the bottom of that table. Just keep it as the number of things, the number of variables as limited as possible to make your job as easy as possible.
Lexi, any thoughts?
Apparently, my hype intro wasn't done, so everyone was gladly their ears were saved, if anything. But let the LJL Academy aficionado twirly.
Yes, please,
how
please do bring
V3
that up.
Can
Yes.
win this. Because every single player on their academy team is actually a sub. Now, if you want to know something special, V3 actually have defied my expectations already in academy and have beaten a little player. Samuel, do you know a player called Yutori Moashi?
No. What? I don't believe it.
He's playing academy, buddy, at the moment. Sengoku's AD carry pool is so stacked. One of the goats of the region is there.
They got three. What is this?
Yeah. Anyway, that's besides that point. V3 Academy are really good. Apparently, when you slap on Academy onto their team, suddenly they're one of the best teams in the region. You take it off, suddenly they can either make worlds or they go winless. So, Lara, your question, the answer? Bring some of those academy boys up, switch it around. Who knows? Play with champion pools, throw things at the wall, like Sam was saying, and see what sticks. You can't
Exactly.
go winless.
I feel like when you are in such a dire situation, pretty much any change that has been, calculated enough, let's say, could bring some type of benefit, or at the very least, you are troubleshooting things and maybe I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe that plays out to your advantage, right? But talking about their academy team, now let's be a little bit realistic here. Do you think that subbing in these rookies or their players in academy would actually do something for them in a more, competitive league, or do you think that perhaps, they would play a little bit better, but maybe that wouldn't be enough?
I think before Lexi will have his own statement, it's like
Right.
it really depends on why you're being brought in. If it's because your performance has been really exceptional, definitely worth doing. If it's just because like this player on the main team isn't getting it, there's more of an issue there because it's like you might just be replacing like for like. And how much you're going to impact the synergy. It's probably worth a shot. I think Lexi's definitely got an idea, especially if there are players that have really turned up. And what it does as well is it just changes the dynamic. It gives a bit of a fresh start, especially for a team that is so far down in the dumps. Perhaps the players in another lifetime might have been able to pull it together, but you sometimes just need a mindset shift, and a substitution can really
Right.
do that. So that would be my other thought, would be just look, here's a way to bring some new life, a new angle, a new perspective, and someone with a bit more energy who can come in and get the spirits up. So that would be my take on that one.
All right.
I mean, we were always saying a certain player of Cog, bring him in, you'll get a win one way or another. We're not doing that, clearly. We would have already seen him by now. For me though, I'd like to see Primo come in, or I'd really like the mid or top to just switch out and just see what that does to the team.
All right, I think I heard that picks and bans are in.
Ooh.
Correct? All right, maybe it is time that we jump into that. Apologies if we didn't get to speak so much about AXZ, but I'm sure
can
you
do
guys
that.
will. Yes, exactly. Perfect. So let's move on to it.
Well, we've been given our marching orders by our host. Thank you, Lara. And we indeed will touch a little bit more on AXZ. And in fairness, it was time to have that extended discussion about V3. They've had the break. We need to see some changes. There's a lot going wrong with this team, and I think it was right to dive on in. AXZ, though, are going to be on our blue side, while V3 are over on the red. And you can see already a few of those very high priority champions off the table. Get rid of the Kalista, so powerful in the world. Get rid of the Camille, which is point and click CC, and that simple engagement we talked about on the other side. What a surprise! Mega Bin's Azir, and more importantly, Sangchu Zeri just not allowed.
Yeah, but I'm still expecting our two players to play hyper carries. In that previous match we just saw from Chris Gaming at Burning Core, which was a game of League of Legends, we saw two hyper carries in the bot lane of Aphelios Jinx, and it's almost like we're going back to the summer of 2021 again, Sam. So I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, back to the spring of this year even. Like, it's just been the meta for so long. And yeah, you're right. The Poppy's off the table. I know a lot of discussion's been going on around that. Hell, there was a whole segment on the Friday the LEC about how Poppy is the best champion in the league. Here are some things that might counter it. The other thing that is the hardest counter is just putting a ban on it. Of course,
That's
it does
a pretty good way.
Yeah, it makes it very, very easy. A lot of now picks available. Gnar is going to be picked. Again, it's become an increasingly common pick around the world again. And the LJL has always defaulted to Gnar, whatever the meta anyway.
Well, it's the most played top lane champion in the league, along with the LCS, as I came to learn yesterday. Thank you, Flowers, for that one. And also, Poppy with Yellow Yoshi, literally the best Poppy in Japan. Even more of a reason to do it against Swamp, against Yellow Yoshi. It's a double ban, and a hyper carry is already coming out. Dress code over on this Aphelios. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to pair this, because obviously Yumi is still around, and you can very much pair that with Aphelios and have him absolutely crack off. Or you can play more defensively. V3, though, doing something I don't like teams to do, and just showing that we're going to shut down your tanks. So now AXZ get to play around and go for, like, kind of brawlers, fighters, and kind of nullify Trundle's whole kit.
That's the idea, and of course, Trundle, though, is still okay into something like Gnar. We can steal away a lot of his stats. And Mega Gnar, he dives in and suddenly realizes he's not as tanky as he once thought he was, and it's not bad into the Jinx here, but of course, all the way through this pick and ban so far, Yumi's been left open, is one of the more potent picks in what I believe she's like a 90% presence in the league, around the world right now, certainly is very high priority around the world. Either way, Renata is still the option, another one of those very deadly combos. Ranged champion, so has all those joys. The hostile takeover later on in the game, also incredibly powerful. So definitely a deadly duo for Sangju and Ozuka for AXZ bot side.
And Ozaka, I was kind of like trying to figure out how I wanted to go into this player and talk about them. I actually went into research. I went in and really tried to delve in. And I came to learn I have spoken about this player once before.
Did you
several years ago. He used to go by the name of Silent Joker and was one of the top prospects from Scouting Grounds. We didn't see him for a full year since that Scouting Grounds, all the way back in 2022, or 2020 actually, we didn't see him. Finally, though, he debuted with AXIZ, and it's actually been really cool to see because he's had a gradual improvement, more so as the weeks have gone on. I think I love this from AXIZ as well. They are already saying with this pick of Renata, they're like, come into us. We want you to be a melee comp. And then they drafted Sejuani, Samuel. Like, this is not V3. Come on. Like, they literally showed you Renata Glass. You don't have to go melee range. I don't think they were going to pick Lee Sin, though I do like this Zoe band, though, from AXIZ, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been shown to play very well from range.
Absolutely. I also did the cardinal sin of broadcasting and muted my Discord and not my actual audio output. So I did this cough thinking I'd been really subtle, and I had actually just coughed straight on the stream.
I salute you, sir.
That was smooth. So I could feel Chris shaking his head already. He's disappointed in me. Sorry, producer. Don't blame me. It's my fault. I literally got shame over the microphone. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Come back from the LEC, you get this kind of hatred. Honestly, I made this show. Where would you be without me? Probably doing just fine. Let's be real. Got talent in
right here, Sam.
I know, right here. Exactly. Too big for my breeches already. Either way, second phase of bans gone through. The Silas to back up the Zoe, as you mentioned. Talia and Lee Sin were the bans of V3. Still got to pick up the mid laner. Still got to pick up the support. Definitely becoming an increasingly common last two picks around the world to start with. And Karma is the option for the bot side. Pressure and level 1 strength for V3.
Yeah, and a flex pick as well. So a lot of versatility for the side of E3. Really trying to show this. I'm expecting this far more to be for Hatel, and that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just going to get a counter pick. So I don't actually think this is a real flex. I think this is a fake flex kind of card. You know how you kind of fake it in a move and kind of hope that this is going to work out and people don't notice? It's like the pen trick in Magic, if anyone knows that. Orianna, though, is a great ball carrier. Really good way of protecting, especially if an enemy gets a bit too aggressive sometimes. Good way of dissuading, and also has one of the cutest comics at the moment in Star Guardian.
It's adorable.
So
I am just so sad that champion isn't on PC, because I was a big Orianna fan back in the day, and I would love that skin. One day we'll get it. And that and the Legend of Runeterra Gwen skin looks amazing. And all right, that is a rapid Nocturne lock-in. Somewhere out there, Steel is approving. Our resident Nocturne aficionado looking at this and going, yes, this is how we play the league. And of course, when you've got things like the Jinx, this is a way of trying to dive on somebody. I just don't know how easy this will be with the comp V3 have. They got some tools to make that a painful option.
I mean, the idea is that whatever Yu-Gi-Oh! Here is, or dress code, you just kill them. That is Swamp's sole goal in this game, is to play that front line, get it so Sangchu actually gets hyper, gets to pop off, and then hopefully everything else works. This is really weird, though. I agree with you, because it's like AXIZ, as I stated, they're going to play a range comp, they're going to have a ball carrier front line with Yellow Yoshi on the Snar, they've got the Renata. They're basically saying, you can walk into us, but we are favored when you want to do front to back. The Nocturne kind of goes against that whole angle, but we're going to be having wraparounds and stuff, maybe? I guess we'll just see how these two teams do it, as these are our bottom two teams. Not easy draft execution, I would say, for either of these teams, weirdly enough.
No, I think that's fair to say. I will also add, I think there is something to say for is if the Orianna is on the same screen as a Nocturne, you've got a very effective ball carrier there, potentially. I mean, it's not quite the same as the massively long-range Nocturne, but I can see that combo potentially being pretty dangerous. For the other side, for V3, right? It is kind of what I was asking for in the pregame. Look, keep it simple. You've got yourself a nice front-to-back team fight. Obvious strong side bot. Really easy top side to play. Weak side, you know, like that Sejuani you can play up there very happily into the mini-9. In fact, you've got some kill combos even with the Ignite potentially, which is what a lot of people have been talking about. And you got the Ari, which can roam down bot and try and make things happen, right? So really simple game plan for V3. Should be pretty effective. I think it's a little bit more hard to execute, a little bit more dive and wombo heavy from AXIZ, and I don't know how I feel about that.
My main worry and concern, though, very much comes for the bot lane of V3. because they don't really have much disengage if they get caught out.
Yes.
So I'm a little bit worried if they get caught out, they might just have no AD damage, and then it all falls on Sejuani Trundle to kind of pick up the pieces with Yujo on the Ari to output as much damage as they can. But it's going to be tough. But we're on the Rift, Samuel. Take us through, Captain.
Well, this is your captain speaking. You are flying about 500 feet above Summoner's Rift, and we're seeing the beautiful views of the River Valoran. I've just made that up, and you'll just have to believe that's what the river on this rift is called. In-flight entertainment will be this game.
So much wildlife.
Indeed. Expecting a little bit of turbulence, probably hit around the 8-minute mark when the Herald spawns, or always begins a very aggressive series of plays, and we'll see how that goes out. So we'll put the fasten seatbelt signs on at that point and see how it plays out from there.
Already several pings coming out all across the map. We are going to be seeing the side of V3 Esports playing very aggressively as Blitzcrank comes up and says, I don't know, guys, maybe 1% edge to V3, but we're not taking into the stats that they're 0-10, so maybe that might change things for Blitzcrank's son. I just really hope to see a good game from V3. And normally pre-14 minutes, that's when we've actually seen good moments from V3 recently. It's when things have capitulated past that time. And that's when we're hopeful that maybe they can find a transition stage. That's why I wanted to identify and highlight, obviously, the bot lane, because if they can make it through the first 14 minutes, this is a deadly bot lane.
Should be. And then, like, on the other side, yeah, I mean, that's the idea, right? Like, you get this Jinx, you get this Renata to a dangerous point, and suddenly they are team fight ready. On the other side, like, not like Aphelios and Karma are slouches in making team fights happen. In fact, honestly, it's a good team fight comp from V3 in general. And also worth pointing out, these junglers are pathing towards the other side of the map, and Unica will be around, and you can see V3 have quite deliberately not gone for the entire shove, not been hitting too many minions with those empowered Qs, Hazatel, and that might lead to a very easy gank from Unica in about 30 seconds or so.
But as it currently stands, our two junglers are currently doing cross maps. They're actually halving and halving, so it's going to be interesting. Unica's going to be getting probably a level 4 gank on this bot side, or at least going to be looking for something, or Scuttle Crab at minimum. Whereas on the other side, obviously, we can see Swamp in his jungle, or in his swamp? I don't know. He's in Mauritania, that's for sure. Clearing out the jungle, getting that blue buff, and my assumption is there's going to be nowhere to really gank, because if you look at these lane states, Yellow Yoshi's really pushed up at the moment, as is the bot lane of AXZ, so might be something to worry about for Unica, really.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think Sejuani is going to be the easiest champion to dive, as you said, and this Ari got a little bit of shove, gets the ward down, should be a bit safer instead. Maybe looking to see where the Mega Min is going to be overextended, but should be just about okay at this point. Throws down that ward, and you can see Mega Man deciding, I'm going to play this lane relatively defensively, waiting for my jungler to get 6 before committing to too much action and trading.
Yeah, Nocturne pre-6 is a bit of a weird... He's one of those weird junglers. In certain matchups, if your lanes can set up for you, he's very effective. But if your lanes don't really have setup, it looks a bit meh. And Orianna and Nard have no setup for
like
you.
If you get the is it Endless Nightmare, I believe is the fear. You know, you get that off when you have the massive fear proc, and you get to use your lethal tempo, and you're passive with the Umbra Glaives. Like, you're feeling very happy. But obviously, unless your name is Steel and you're getting off ridiculous level 3 ganks on Nocturne, generally speaking, yeah, the level 6 is the power.
I mean, your bot lane also does have a name of Utapon there, so magic is always on the table.
Looking for the Arctic Assaulter here in the top. So I forced a flash out of Yellow Yoshi, and that means the pillar will be just shy. Flash down, though, for this top lane, and that means AXZ maybe needs to be a little aware of a return up there at some point in the future.
I would definitely think that, and they're going to have timers now, but Yellow Yoshi is committing to the idea that he is farming, Samuel. Why? Cull. He is fully on this. 127... that's when he'll actually fully unlock and get even more gold, and maybe he'll have his mythic by that point.
Swamp, though, looking to get in the bot side. A flash handshake means there is no way out of this deal for Hatel. He's trying to get out to safety, but the loyalty program and a flash auto from Jinx seals the deal.
I Don't know if he needed a flash, but it looks stylish and I like it nonetheless. Maybe there was a tether, I don't know for sure, but that first blood comes through. At least dress code is going to be able to pick up this wave and will be mostly even on CS. But for the side of AXIZ, well, you don't want to allow them to get any forward. You don't want a gold, but this was perfectly set up. The flash from Silent Joker, to make an old reference, coming out, really throwing them into the traps. Nocturne being able to get a bunch of damage, and hey, that's one way to get your Nocturne ultimate faster. Get a few assists onto it, get that experience, and then you can rotate around. However, because so much was used in that play, a handshake had to be made, and V3 were at least on it enough to make that trade and get that dragon.
Indeed, they do. And that keeps them at least getting something on the board. They are behind a notable amount of gold at this point in the game, largely off that kill and some CS numbers going their way, particularly towards that top side. That's being evened up a little bit as Washday is claiming this wave. So should leave them with just about 1,000 or so gold lead. And that's pretty playable as long as V3 don't fall behind even further. More importantly, though, as you said, you are looking at this Nocturne edging closer and closer to 6. And there is a flashless support who might be a juicy second target.
And the other thing I wanted to pay attention is we've got 2 culls now for AXIZ.
Yes.
Two culls. We're cull gaming here.
We're playing Stardew Valley, mate. This is Farming Simulator now. But Swamp has decided that maybe he wanted to move to a different kind of environment, namely his opposition's jungle. This feels a little bit sort of like, like, what's the word when you're like sabotaging your opponent? It's like, gone to another farmer's field and gone, nah, this is mine now. Here to screw over the competition.
That's just stealing content. That's content creation in general, mate.
There's a little bit of bitterness in your voice there.
I don't know what you're talking about, mate. No bitterness whatsoever.
Maybe I'll sit down with you after this and just like get you to unload. You've had a rough time, mate.
With that said, though,
about 2 years ago, someone took this TikTok I did and posted it on their own account. Never gotten over it.
No, I mean, me holding a grudge, what's that? No, never. Holding grudges is not something I do, but holding numbers is definitely something that we have seen Sangchu do a lot here. And guess who's ding, 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 just hit to 6? It's Swamp! It's his jungle, mate, and I think he wants something here. Silent Joker or Onazuka doesn't actually have their flash at the moment, so we won't be seeing any flash forwards that we saw from that previous gang. Still going to be a minute 30 on it.
Yeah, they were just thinking about whether there was an angle. You can see Swamp was just looking, seeing there was whether there was room to play like the American Gator and drag him straight into the swamp and down under, but not going to happen this time around. And they'll play wisely, a little bit reserved in that bot side.
But they do need to look for something, because this is now when you have all the power from Swamp. And we've seen fantastic games. I am recalled to go back to a very old now AXIZ game, but a very iconic game from their summer of last year.
Of course, yes.
I'm thinking over to Ino when he played that Nocturne, had his undefeated. I think he went something like 12 or 14 and something crazy.
He had a crazy game.
And in that post-game interview he had on the main broadcast, when they asked him, how did you play Nocturne? He said, whenever I had ult, I pressed the button. That was all he did every single time. So they should be looking to do that, but V3 have other ideas for
Alzuka, still no flash. It means this Renata is about to be on the wrong end of an aggressive business trade. The bailout will not be enough to keep them from going under, and her business proves to be far too insolvent.
Yeah, and they realized that, hey, Swamp isn't showing up. He's got 6. That must mean he's doing some form of something in the jungle. Maybe he's clearing his top side. We've already been warding it out. We saw some of the pathing, so okay, he must be doing that Rift Tower. All right, we can secure, we can get this bot lane, and a fantastic pillar more than anything else from Unica. He wasn't able to get it on Swamp when he invaded on his jungle, but he was able to get it on there. And really does help out putting a lot of gold now into dress code on this Aphelios.
Gonna try and maybe look for another plate there, but they'll get 2 plates plus the kill, which is trading up in expected value when you go against the Herald take. So V3 very happy with that. It keeps the gold a little more even. Of course, things likely to go back in favor of AXIZ somewhat once that Herald is summoned, assuming it is used correctly. But at least for now, V3 feeling pretty happy with that trade up.
Yeah, and we've still not seen an ult from Swamp, and I hate to be repeating myself, but this is kind of what you need to do on the champion. If you don't press ult, if you're not looking, because at worst, normally initialize, is you get people's flashes, right? And that's a timer. You just put that on your timer and you just go, all right, well, when it comes up, like Washi Day, if they slightly overextend, you should just go for it. Just force something out of them. Push them out that lane. Get turret plating. That's what we saw previously from Nocturnes in the past, and we haven't seen that yet from Swamp. We need to see it, please. Please.
And there is an element of, like, Rumble, TF, champions like that. You can need to make those first couple of ults work. Paranoia comes through now to try and turn around as a counter gank in the mid lane. We'll get the flash out of Unica, but not too much more. I was just asking for an effective use of the Nocturne ultimate. Half marks for that one, I think. Flash probably not what they wanted out of that one entirely. 2 ults down for no kills, but just the flashing with the Dragon alive. Wonder whether it means AXIZ have to give this one up to boot. It may even just be a loss.
Probably going to have to now because they don't have that threatening of that Paranoia now. So it really falls on who else is going to be that engaged. You don't have it, so you can't be a ball carrier. Shockwave was already used to actually save Megamin in that previous play. So we're going to have to see something. Onozuka looking for something, but it's like you're looking for a lot of things, but it's going to be very hard once that Paranoia isn't down and you don't have Yellow Yoshi.
So you get the Dragon, it's flash to flash on the support. They'll summon the Herald in mid lane. But that will be about it. Gonna get those plates through, get them into Megamin's pocket, and back away. V3 trading relatively evenly there, all things said and done. But considering what AXIZ burnt to trade evenly, we'll probably take that one for now.
Oh, hugely. And I mean, that's the other thing, right? Because V3 now can look at this and go, okay, what ultimates do we still have up and what do they not have up? Well, they know they've probably got a few more minutes of playing safe, so they can just back off. They can reset, get ready. And then the side of AXIZ are like, okay, well, we have to now start fighting around these dragons. We don't actually have a choice. Yellow Yoshi, while he's been quietly winning, and that color is almost finished now for them, what have they done for the rest of the team? It's going to be really important when he does eventually join them for these team fights to actually enable a lot more from AXIZ, because currently without him, they've not been doing great.
Now the thing is, Yellow Yoshi has to be a little bit careful because he was nearly getting the passive stacked when Unica was around, but trades that one well enough, keeps his distance with the hop. And you're right? Because on the other side, the Sejuani, you know the value of a Sejuani team fight. Anybody who's watched League over the last, I don't know, half a decade can tell you exactly what the ultimate from that champion does, and namely it does a lot of work in team fights. And yes, Sangchu's got the cleanse, but you can only cleanse one thing, and that can get a bit scary. But a Paranoia might be the way to turn this one around. The Nightmare comes flying in on top of the Karma. No shield. And she's dragged under and into the Nightmare forever by Swamp.
All right. And perfect timing on that, because Swamp will have that. Got the kill. Get some gold on people. Oh, and it'll be up for the next dragon fight as well. This is what we wanted to see, Swamp. He just slammed the button the moment it came up and he had reset and done some of his clearing. Just keep doing that. You'll win the game if you do that. I should also mention...
Needs to be a bit afraid it will have the flash, but there'll be the pillar afterwards waiting for it. Flash! Jump! Protect Eugil! That was goddamn fabulous!
That was so clean! More of that, please. That was a Nightmare, Ari. Did the wrong person get on the keyboard there for a second?
Clip it, ship it, throw that one up on the subreddit, whatever you fancy. That was a phenomenal predict by Eugil. Let's watch this one again.
I just want to be silent for this almost. Like, oh, he
just so good.
Oh, partly of it looks like he's dead, but in actuality, if Megamin doesn't flash forward, he's never going to get out of trundle range. So he's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I guess you could have potentially looked to flash north, similar to where the LJL sign is. Maybe try and run north, but you're not going to escape trundle. So I understand the flash, but it's I guess he was already dead and he didn't even know it.
No, he didn't, and that's the reason we've always seen the talent in the individual players of V3, but it has been some of the map plays, it has been some of the bits of fundamentals which have hurt them, and you can see it here. They are down about 2,000 gold, partly out of those, a lot of plates going down, some of that CS discrepancy hurting them, but the talent's there, the game's still very playable. They've got the team fight, they've got 2 dragons, and this Ari and this Aphelios will be online and ready to play come that next dragon.
Nocturne has got ult, and Swamp just finished his stride breaker. So expect many more ults to be coming. Also, that ultimate looks to be at the moment about on a 1 minute 20, 1 minute 30 cooldown, so won't be up if he does decide to use it for this dragon fight, but could absolutely change the numbers if they wanted to do it 10, 20 seconds before the dragon spawns, as that is very much a common play. Prep or pre-fight before the dragon actually spawns when you know it's advantageous, but that's
Flash
not a good place.
for the renewal will force a flash after. Still got the use of the spirit. They'll get the kill, but what about the turnaround with the paranoia? Doing what they can. There is still a potential second reset for Yuji. Needs to get over the wall. Can't get far enough and will fall down. It's a 2 in favor of AXZ, and they do turn around the play effectively.
That Renata Glass ultimate coming through, making multiple members just kind of stop still. Yeah, they were also attacking. It didn't really do too much, but the TPN from Yellow Yoshi was huge. Now, what we're going to be seeing here is I expected, Mega Man and Yellow Yoshi aren't going to switch lanes. That's a little surprising. I guess they just want to keep that TP up. I thought they might want to protect the turret. Anyway, let's come back into this. So, Azuka, you are just really overextended without any vision. You just saw Unica and Yu-Gi-Oh run forward. Obviously, the paranoia helps, but this is the ultimate which changes this fight. It causes so many issues, hits on all of the members there. And look at where Dress Code is compared to the rest of their team. He's so far away from the rest of them. They get to clean up afterward, get some more gold onto Yellow Yoshi. I was expecting a TP immediately now from Mega Man to go straight not top. So Yellow Yoshi could reset and just take the mid farm and then do that, but I guess they want to just keep their TPs up. It's fine. We're going to have a 5v5. The first one I think we're going to be seeing of this game initialize.
Yeah, and V3 got that top tower as kind of penance for the teleport down. And we are getting some siege onto this mid lane turret. V3 zoned out by the flame drops. Good charm though onto Ozuka. Chunks him out. The Moonlight Vigil will keep Ozuka alive, but he's down to the bailout. There ain't no way keeping out this one. He's dead. Even after the Super Mega Death Rocket tried to keep the support alive. They are going to have to reset, though, so unlikely to be able to contest the Dragon, unfortunately, for V3. Unica will try and heal up off the Gromp. Dragon, though, started by AXZ, and I think they might have got what they come for, even if it cost them their support.
Yes, and the other reason that V3 realized that is Swamp had just got his ultimate after everyone had exchanged fights, so Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, no!
The paranoia is coming through, thought he might be safe, but it's just not going to happen. The Endless Nightmare will not be denied, and that one comes through.
That's the first turret now for AXZ. This is how the wheels start coming off V3. The culls are now going to be sold and upgraded. Yellow, she already done his. Sangchu will probably be doing his soon. Wants to just keep hold of it, his cull. You know Pikachu with that that ketchup bottle? I think that's Sangchu at the moment with his cull. He's like, no, this is mine.
It does give a little bit of lifesteal, I suppose, even then. And Lexi, I've got to admit something. I got the name of Nocturne's E wrong, and I'm incredibly disappointed in myself. It's Unspeakable Horror, not Endless Nightmare. I'm a bad.
You know what? I think you made a better name there, mate.
It's a good name. It's a good name.
I'm doubling down with you.
You.
You are better at naming things than Riot people are. Yes,
but you know what? I'll take that compliment.
It's like you've got an English language.
Bit of that.
It is an English language.
So it was strictly what it is an English degree with no additional things afterwards, but effectively it was English lit.
Oh. Right. Okay. Yeah, but you've still got an English degree.
I do.
So that makes sense why you'd be fantastic at naming abilities.
Exactly. That is my main power, is coming up with interesting words in an interesting
English. Yeah, it all makes sense.
Just inflate my ego anymore. Been on the LEC now. Everything's going well, much like that glacial prison. Enough about prayer and accomplishments for the turnaround with the hostile takeover is fantastic. It was looking like a 1-for-1 right now, but what happens after the paranoia comes through? Swamp gets another. The Moonlight Vigil just goes wide, and that means the AXIZ trade up one more time.
Every single time, V3, you use so much to kill Azuka, and they go, ha! That was our plan all along. The Kingpin from Zon decides, hey, actually, no, that's not going to work, and that's a bad TV. Yeah.
But the tower still falls regardless, and AXIZ get their first of the game, and they are up now about 4,500 gold. And let's have a look at this one again, because the Herald goes down, and they see the angle. They see the opportunity. They just can't quite make it clean.
Oh, this hostile takeover, though, again across 3 members into the falling arms of a Meganar Yellow Yoshi. And then afterwards, that's just how they do. And what I want to just highlight there is that so much was used to kill Azuka for no discernible reason. It's like, we're going to kill the Renata Glass for the 4th time. All right, and then what we doing? We're going to try and get onto Swamp and Sangchu afterwards. And you can't do that because Mega Min has Shockwave. And Mega Min Shockwaves, they're not the Shockwaves where you get like 3 or 4 members. They're just good at zoning people more than anything else. Yellow Yoshi with his Mega Gnar ultimate, again, it's just really good zoning. It just prevents the rest of the members actually from doing this. And weirdly enough, Paranoia is really good.
I don't know how doable this will be, though. It's still a very tanky Sejuani, but they're going to have this Mega Death. We're going to try and follow this one up. And they do secure it into the pocket of Sangchu. Delivery from the mid lane.
I said they were going to get it, didn't I?
You did. You absolutely did. And, of course, Yellow Yoshi, now potentially in a spot of bother himself, going to get the Mega Gnar, sort of. And that charm goes a little wide. The Herald shoved into the wall with the ultimate means it won't get a second charge off. And V3, yes, they got a turret, but they are still falling further and further behind in this game. The Nocturne definitely paying dividends in this mid game.
Maybe I don't watch enough Gnars when they're side laning still when they get Mega, but I don't feel like I see enough Mega Gnars ult just for the sake of doing things to their lane, like to farm or anything.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That was really well played.
There is something to the... oh, he's on ward. He doesn't quite know it. Just going to reset on that one. Like, yep, everyone knows the jungler's off the board now. PSA.
Well, they're all resetting as well, so that it's just a mutual handshake, except only one side know it's a handshake. Which, actually, from an information POV, is actually really interesting, but it's probably not worth talking about too much here for AXIZ V3.
I will check in here as well, because we've got 45 seconds until what would be sole point for V3. Of course, they lost that last Drake after... despite getting the pick because of their health bars being too low. But the problem is they are starting to hit that item discrepancy 2 in for both the mid lane and bot lane carries as the Paranoia is popped anyway. Flash away from Hell keeps him alive, and now Swamp's gone very deep. About to fall, can't stopwatch. Shuts down. Yes, the hostile takeover has been good, but it's not going to stop anything. And V3 finally get a clean pick and can think about claiming their prize, the dragon, in 15 seconds.
What is it with players going and using everything on a support? It feels like, yeah, this is how my support experience is in most games.
I've seen your Leona play.
Like, I feel this. Well, I mean, yeah, except when I play Sona, that happens. Not with the Leona, obviously. The owner, it's okay. I want them to hit me. But hey,
you okay, buddy? That's a bit, you know, not safe for work for the broadcast, buddy.
Oh my. Well, that would have been not safe for work if Sangchu had actually stolen that one. That would have been illegal, I believe, is what the kids say. But AXIZ, in general, are they're not really. They're ahead by 5K. They were ahead by 5K. It's a lot of just weird angles that both these teams make. It's uncharacteristic mistakes, which we won't see from the higher teams currently at the moment in the LJL. But we do observe pretty regularly from AXIZ and V3, and to an extent, similar to Crest Gaming Act and Burning Core from what we saw.
That game was certainly something. We've had 2 very interesting games so far. Now in the middle of a third, by the looks of it, of course. Burning Core took down their direct rivals in Sengoku Gaming, breaking their 10-win streak to earn DFM's own 10-win streak. And of course, it means that top of the table clash continues to be a very exciting one to watch. So we had whatever in the absolute madness was Burning Core versus CGA. That is a tale as old as the LJL. I feel that matchup has always been a little bit spicy. And of course, still got to see how this game plays out, because a lot of the gold lead for AXIZ is actually on their jungle and top laner. And bluntly, you're into a Trundle and a Sejuani, who are significantly more low economy. They're fine. You've got a Frozen Heart and a Frostfire Gauntlet on Washidai. He's ready to tango. You've still got near enough 2 items on both Yujo and Dresco, plus the stopwatch in inventory for that Ahri. Like, they're ready to go as well. So it's like, for all that the gold lead is there for AXIZ, like, in terms of fighting power, there's not as much discrepancy as you might expect, I suspect.
Oh, I think you're hitting on a fantastic point, because, yeah, AXIZ, you should be further ahead than you actually are in this game. That engage on the mid lane onto Hertel has kind of worked out really well for V3, because now we're at parity again, so it's just a lot of handshaking, and I imagine we're only going to see a fight around the next dragon that comes up, which is not going to be for another 3 minutes. So it now falls on AXIZ to find where is the play. Where are you going to execute on? Because Nocturne will fall off. Like, that is a black and white statement. Yes, obviously you can still try and kill Dress Code or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or even Hertel to an extent. But that's late. The later the game goes on, Karma Shields start getting a lot bigger. An Ari Charm just completely nullifies half of your idea, especially if you don't get your bubble up. Like, there's a lot of things where if this game keeps going, V3 are going to be happy with this because Unica and Washide especially are just going to become unkillable machines, which only Sangchu can really take down.
Washidai will throw out the ultimate
yeah.
Yellow Yoshi stopwatch as it flashes the charm afterwards. Paranoia is down. And what Yellow Yoshi plays that out exceptionally well. Will not fall, but that is the flash. That is the stopwatch broken. And those are pretty long-standing tools. And in case of the stopwatch, a one-use only.
And now we just play the awkward countdown. It's these two teams just looking to play it around. Neither of these teams are actually really going for some a split push action. And I think part of the reason is neither team really knows who's stronger at the moment. You kind of get this feeling that both teams are starting to feel one another out and they're just looking for a pick at the moment. I'm going to try and capitalize and use the momentum from a pick to really then go on to the next opportunity. The issue is, without finding a pick, neither of these teams really want to commit to an idea at this moment in time. So we're just seeing the top laners just switching to bot lane, and now everyone's resetting around. I will give some credit to Yu-Gi-Oh, who is farming on this side lane really well in the top side, and then kind of just rotating back into the jungle, into the mysterious darkness that is that side of the V3 top side jungle.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. So I'm playing a little bit safe, playing a little bit reserved because of Baron alive. There's a minute until the Ocean Soul for V3. Why on earth would they overextend when that's when they want to commit? They made the play towards bot side onto Yellow Yoshi. Couldn't quite make it stick, but they did get some important tools out. Now they have to try and reap the rewards with that Ocean Dragon coming up. 45 seconds until that, when you can see the resets have come through in V3, beginning to barrel their way back onto the map, even if AXIZ will take this opportunity to try and catch them as they walk through their own jungle.
AXIZ were first out, getting that vision down. We can see it's one on their blue buff, one in that tri-brush, which is extended because of the Ocean Soul, or the Ocean Drake more than anything else. So, important things. The Yellow Yoshi's already the CP.
Swamps in, but I've got to throw down the Shuralias! He's down! Yes, he's got the revive thanks to the Guardian Angel, but that is a very key tool down. They'll back out, and now V3 can start to maybe look about turning it around. Subjugate and the Spirit Rush down for Yu-Gi-Oh! Means that maybe, though, it's going to be hard work. And they say, look, we've already got the soul point. We can go to Baron instead. That dragon is worth way more to you right now than it is to us.
Yeah, and without the paranoia as well, they don't have any easy way to just kind of pick off and go, okay, let's just go in and they can't stop us. This is going to be a one-way trip if Swamp decides to go over.
Swamp has a flash and a prayer right now. What about V3's turnaround? Over they go with Washidai's Arctic Assault and Glacial Prison. They get the stun, but he's walked onto the Flame Chompers. It's a decent Moonlight Vigil, but already their top laner is down. The turnaround fails from V3.
Great idea from AXIZ there, and that they were able to walk forward. And the idea from throwing the Glacial Prism out, it's fantastic. The issue is there needs to either be a commitment or a complete disengage. And again, V3 weren't fully sure which way they wanted to take it. Which way do you think they should have taken it there, Sam?
I mean, I don't think it's bad to look for the turnaround, but if you're going to do it, you need to do it together, and having your top laner kind of separated out there, as you saw. Like, he gets the stun, and now he's in really deep, and Flame Chomp is behind him, and he's got no flash, and that's a very sad space to be in.
Well, hopefully we will get a replay. That my hope was that we were going to do that.
I know.
And then you'd say what you're going to do, and then we'd go straight to a replay.
It would have been really nice and back and forth, some conversation. Like, it would have been wonderful. They're not gonna indulge us though, unfortunately.
No, sadly not. Yellow Yoshi is going to be able to make sure that their team is going to be able to keep their blue buff. I'm sure Mega Min will be greatly appreciative of that. When your top laner defends your blue buff as a mid laner, and he's bot side, so that's going to be just for Swamp in actuality. Just don't mind me. Important thing though that we haven't mentioned: levels are now particularly coming in. 16 now for both these mid laners.
Wait, the pick! It's phenomenal. Yu-Gi-Oh gets that one in a blink of an eye.
And that's how you use everything on a support. And it doesn't go bad, ladies and gentlemen.
You've got an Infinity Edge on Sangchu, but you are down the member here. Can V3 make the Baron play happen? They're going to decide against it. Maybe it will just be the pick and nothing more. I thought at this point, nearly at the 30-minute mark, it would have been an opportunity to go. Instead, they'll bait the switch back towards the mid lane. They've got priority here. They'd love to get this outer tower. Finally, it's been nearly 30 minutes it stood so far.
See what they're going to decide to do. The problem is you can't go very far forward because the Orianna ball is just so annoying to deal with. And if you go too far forward, you know you're dead. Like you know you're probably a one-way trip dead because with paranoia and everything else, before you know you're all alone and nightmares ensue.
It looks so friendly, this sort of like floating mechanical poro that's actually just there to cause doom and destruction.
Probably her second best skin. I just really want Star Guardian.
It is really. I mean, also like the dark story on it is so satisfying with the black hole that you fight around with. It's very cool. I'm a little bit sad they nerfed some of the particles on that, but it's still a very cool skin, and I say that as someone who just enjoyed very big black hole particles that probably were a little bit unclear. Let's be fair, it was a bit too much, but at the same time, on a personal level, it was cool.
Well, Black Things of Despair, isn't that your favorite champion to some extent?
Oh, I mean, Evelyn, yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
let's be real.
I mean, and your second champion, another extent of the Elise, actually.
That's true. And then I play Kindred as well, so yeah,
yes.
I have a type clearly. Like the edge lord in me approves, I suppose.
You never quite got out of your
femme fatale to death.
Yes.
Shameless. I mean, like, I'm not quite as bad as Alex. He's not here to defend himself, but let's be real. That RE fixation is a problem.
I mean, yeah, and as I just, I'm all about my.
You're gonna have to wait. I think there's a mid lane tower siege happening, and I feel okay, you know what? I was expecting maybe a dive there. You could see watching the video. What's gonna happen?
Yellow Yoshi wants a turret, though. We're gonna get a turret, Sam, at 31 minutes in.
Yellow Yoshi implies that he's actually a chroma of Yoshi, and therefore there are actually a lot of different Yoshis around that may or may not be top laners.
But well, we came to learn very recently, thanks to our glorious host, what a Yellow Yoshi actually is.
Do tell. I'm not sure I heard this.
So if I remember rightly, and I will probably be corrected on the desk if I am wrong, as AXZ are doing cross-map plays.
Never mind. We'll have to wait on that juicy tidbit of information because we've got a juicy Baron fight coming through. In comes Yellow Yoshi into the pit, and he gets a very dead Trundle alongside the Baron. Beautiful stuff from AXZ after the game was beginning to kind of move towards a stalemate. They'll continue chasing onwards. The Moonlight Vigil afterwards. It's pretty good. Yellow Yoshi over the wall. In goes Fresco. Can't secure the kill because of a stopwatch. Sanctu still have that one available. Yellow Yoshi continue to haunt the side of that fight, but won't get more. Baron secure, plus the kill. Minute till this Ocean Soul Point fight again, but AXZ with the control of the map to run wild is what we'll finally finish that sentence with.
I think most improved player between these two splits might be Yellow Yoshi. Genuinely, this play from them, the cross map immediately TPing in. Yeah, okay, the ultimate wasn't great, but he lands the stun and then the damage all comes through. Like, he's on board for the play. Execution, maybe not flawless, but a very idea. But where the execution was really good from Yellow Yoshi is here. The continuing harassment, immediately jumping over, going, Yu-Gi-Oh, no, you're getting out of this fight. You're not going to keep following up. Forcing them to use the red cone and everything else, just almost solo zoning out multiple members just with a mini Gnar just going at it. But that is what Black Cleaver does do on Gnar, so it's kind of expected.
Plays it very well. I mean, there may be a couple of names. I feel like a couple of the Hawks players as well. Big glow up from Spring. Like some Marble in particular beginning to look like a competent AD carry in the league, which was, as we said, always a dangerous and very challenging role to slot into in the LJL because of how stacked that role is. But all the same, it's still looking like a AXZ win right here in Yellow Yoshi, a big part of where they've got those advantages. Big sign lane pressure point for this squad.
Well, and I think what's also important to notice, or at least remember, is that AXZ, day 10, they won a game. Remember, like the last game they actually played, they won. So, and that was against racking my memory brain. It was against Chris Gaming X.
It was indeed.
I mean, AXZ are already kind of showing that they have ideas, they are improving, and that this wasn't like their spring run where it was like good at the start and then kind of fell off pretty hard towards the end. No, this is improvements. They want more, and this is really well done by them. Bit of mistakes in the early to mid game, but now dominance is coming through to a degree.
It very much is. They've got more to work with us on this Baron, and still got to close out this game, of course. And we've had issues from both of these teams on that front. But V3 with their squad certainly have ways to play out late game fights, assuming they can survive the last dregs of this onslaught.
But hopefully we won't be having like a 45-minute game with this. I would really like one of these teams just to win a team
I
fight.
hate to tell you that might be what we're looking at because I don't trust either of these teams to close out cleanly.
What do you mean? They've got Jinx Aphelios. Can't they just win a team fight? Oh wait, yeah, last game.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like, don't make me point to the book. Like, point to the VODs. Break in case of emergency. CGA versus Burning Core. Always an absolute fiesta.
I mean, there's Sengoku Burning Core.
But also that one, we don't talk about that one. That one, I think, probably permanently broke Nymera.
I will always call back to it because there was a previous game which had broken you guys, but I like that it's been taken. I like that AXZ.
What was the V3 Sengoku one was 70 minutes? It was also utterly ridiculous. Way back in spring of 2020, I want to say.
There was also some really bad Rascal Jesters matches from the 2020 summer.
Oh, but yeah, that was really sad. I mean, we think 2021 summer. Was it? No,
it was 2020, mate. We've been doing this league for that long.
Gosh, yes, it was. Of course, that was when a lot of the COVID restrictions came, and we had some of the players get trapped out of Japan and unable to play. So a lot of substitutes in. It was a very
Jester.
It was a bit of a sad one to watch in a lot of ways. They tried their very best, but it was a very difficult situation for the org and the players. And a little bit sad considering what we had so many expectations of after spring. We've got expectations still of this game to go as Ingo swap with the paranoia going in very deep. Doesn't really succeed in getting too much out of his opposition though, and now the turnaround begins to come through. Too much more to write home about.
Outside of a TP though from Yellow Yoshi, not much was committed to that play because you have to remember the ultimate from Swamp coming out. It's already on 1/4 done. Like, this is something they have repeatable executions, and they are finally using. I don't think Swamp has used his ultimates anywhere near as much as he should have, but it's better to see random paranoias just being thrown out. Hey, let's try and get onto somebody. Not worked? All right, let's just reset and go back and try it out. We'll have it up for the next big team fight, and then let's execute on that. Sangchu getting a red buff, just throw all the resources into them, let them carry. He's been very good at doing that. Let's see how it pays off in these next team fight, because I think, hopefully, that'll be the last one. Maybe.
One would imagine it's looking like it's heading towards that point. And, you know, let's highlight Sangchu, like this player who has been the shining light of AXZ across this season, who has done so much work to try and carry the team despite, you know, some poor overall records. He has definitely been a player that has impressed us from a difficult position. Of course, AD carry often a challenging role to look good on when the team isn't performing well around you, but Sangchu has been a dangerous opponent, particularly on picks like the Zeri, and in this game on the Jinx has got himself up to a deadly point of power here at 4.5 items, looking towards what will likely be GA or a Bloodthirst are both very viable in this game.
Am I crazy? But I don't feel like Infinity Edge is enabled here.
It's enabled rapid fire. You got 3 crit items before that. Rapid fire's crit, remember? It's,
sorry, I should have explained myself. Dress codes.
Oh, dress codes. No, it is. It is. Oh, I think so. Yes.
I'm just seeing the zeal.
Yes,
that's why I was a bit worried.
Third item Infinity Edge works, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, it should be.
Oh,
okay.
that rapid fire now came in.
Rapid fire, yeah, no, it should be fine. Infinity Edge third works. You can do Collector Infinity Edge. That's fine. He says, thinking about it.
No, I'm like, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, is that good enough? I can't remember. It's been a while since I played AD carry. But I mean, hey,
you've got me doubting myself now.
Yeah, see, I'm doubting. That's why I wasn't sure. I wasn't gonna make the call. I was like, what do you think about this initialize? Because I'm not gonna make the commitment. Though AXIZ are gonna commit Sangchu to this dragon, so now they're gonna cross map play. Lovely zoom out here, and now the side of AXIZ are going to have to try and find a way in.
It's going to get shredded. They're going to have to try and come in very, very quickly. Will they be there in time? They'll come across with the Mega Death Rocket. It's taken! That will be the bounty secure. What about the Paranoia afterwards? They're flashing over the wall, but in comes Swamp to try and clean at the end of the team fight. Yellow Yoshi, though, is very deep, trying to take this one out. Teleports from behind Yellow Yoshi. About to go down, does die. A shutdown coming through. Dress code. Running rampant. Chakrams galore. Goes golden. Swamps into the backside. Dress code healing up will finally fall, no way to stay alive. And despite the Baron take, despite Aphelios with his chakrams to spare, will not be able to secure the game. A double to Megamin will be an explosive way to end this game, and ain't that appropriate. AXIZ move to 4 and 7.
Huge victory for them there. Ocean Soul coming in clutch, giving them a lot of healing. And actually, with the 2 tanks of V3, are they able to end?
They've got to try. They get the shockwave onto 2. That'll do what they can. Golden, though, goes Unica, but now he's the only one remaining, trying to keep these minions buffed up. But Sangchu will not allow him the sanctuary of his fountain, and they'll clean up this game. They continue to keep their name in the race for playoffs.
4 and 7. They're keeping it in, like you said, tying with Chris Gamia. Get over here. Well and truly from AXIZ and V3. Some good moments from them. Some good moments, but just wasn't quite good enough, sadly.
No, it wasn't. We saw the idea, right? Like it was some moments there, some decent picks, but honestly, the hostile takeovers to turn around some of those gauges were very strong. We saw a lot of work in terms of just hitting those team fights a bit harder, trading up a bit more, just some fundamental stuff from AXIZ. And while at the beginning of the split, we're like, are they a playoff team? Right now, they're in there. And some of these teams who are at an equal score need to be sweating a little bit. CGA, Rascal, Jester, don't mess up or this team will steal your spot.
But we're going to take a break here. There was a lot of time that went through that game. It wasn't a 20-minute stomp. So we're going to go to a quick break. But when we return, Ara's going to help us break down everything. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back from our short break. Hey, that match wasn't a sleeper at all. It was just as competitive as, you know, what we've seen today. Today has been actually quite fiery. I'd love to hear Yeah, yes, you're right, Sam. I'd love to hear from you, actually, who your MVPs of the match were. So, starting off with you.
I have put some thought into this one. I'm actually going to say Ozika because those hostile takeovers to turn around the attempted engages, yes, he died a few times, but those hostile takeovers were so critical. And that would be my take, but I see an argument for Sangchu. I see an argument for the likes of, honestly, a lot of those players, but he'll be the guy who gets my vote this time around.
All right, Lexi.
What is a yellow Yoshi?
All right, so let's
I
go
knew
into this. Everyone.
Very important.
Yoshi is obviously the green little dinosaur from Super Mario. But a yellow Yoshi is something you see in Super Mario World, a very, very old Super Nintendo games. Maybe some of you have played, maybe some of you have not. But in Super Mario World, Yoshi
and
has
Yoshi's
many.
Story.
Yes, yeah, true, and Yoshi's Story too. But I do believe the core differences are blue Yoshi when they eat a shell that's colorful, not the green shell, I believe, they can fly. Or when you have, the red Yoshi, it spits fire. But the yellow Yoshi is tanky. When the yellow Yoshi jumps, every other Koopa that's around it just kind of dies, right? So I think it really fits the name of the player because tank main. So that's the reason why I brought it up back then. But go ahead, make your point.
And the tank main himself, honestly speaking, Yellow Yoshi is my MVP. Like, it was playing cross map, played the island well and truly as an island, went committed with the cull, and was really important in a lot of their team fights and the victory at the end as well. They get my vote.
That's fair.
That's perfect. Actually, top lane island. Yoshi Island. Damn, that's just too many. Whatever. Okay,
boy.
all right. Let's move on into. Oh, wait, we have a graphic? Oh no, this is horrible, actually.
Chris, you
Oh,
cursed,
no.
beautiful man. That is stunning. Can we
Oh
tag
my-
Swamp in this? That's
Yes,
That's-
absolutely.
the
Oh
worst
my.
thing I have ever witnessed, and I love it.
You know when you just mentioned to us that maybe you'd have actually
What
just
are you
mentioned that
doing in
maybe you
my
would have given
swamp?
too much power to Chris. I think
This
yeah.
is the best
Laura,
decision we've
I know
ever made.
you've only recently joined us, and
Oh,
you're now
God.
beginning to see the kind of true horror that lies beneath the surface of the madness.
That's lovely. Good job.
That
Actually,
is
no.
like full primary school teacher seeing the mess of macaroni art that one of her students has made. It's like, well
Macaroni
done,
art.
well beautiful, that's fabulous. And inside it's like, what monstrosity is this? Have they summoned some eldritch demon?
Exactly. All right, guys. I think it's pretty fair to
Yes.
say that V3 was very much alive this game. They managed to punish AXIZ where it mattered. So it made the game a little bit more difficult to them. But why do you guys think that AXIZ struggled?
Yu-Gi-Oh! It was Yu-Gi-Oh! On this Ari, found a lot of angles, was actually backing up Unica in a lot of spots on this Trundle pillars as well. And actually where I think it went bad for them is when they committed fully to their engage. Washide on that Sejuani sometimes was throwing out the Glacial Prism and it wasn't always landing on everybody, and the side of V3 weren't always sure if we should go in or go out. Sometimes you don't land an Ari charm, and that decides if you're going to go in or not as an Ari main.
Yeah, I mean, like that in particular, that gank on mid lane with the Spirit Rush, Flash, Charm Predict was a real highlight reel play. And you saw like very nearly managed to get
was
to the point where that
lovely.
Ari was going to be very, very difficult to deal with. The problem was, as Lexi was saying, when they did go for the full engage, suddenly the lights get turned out. And then there's a shockwave to disengage. And then there's the hostile takeover across the 4 people have dived through. And then suddenly you've got all these members diving right back at you with the turnaround and the Jinx going wild. And it became incredibly problematic for them, particularly once those items came through. And while I'll give credit for V3 for making it competitive, once again, we cannot see them convert individual wins into a cohesive string of successes to win a game. And it's going to continue haunting them until they sort it out.
Right. Yeah, I feel like when a team goes into the Rift and there is an absolute stomp, well, you know that there was a problem that was very clear, and obviously you take the loss. It sucks to lose. You feel sad. But when you go into a game and it felt to me like they poured their hearts out into this and they made it as competitive as they could, and then they lose. It probably has to sting. Do we think that the team is going to take this loss and maybe turn it into more fire to continue bringing a little bit more what we saw today? Or do we think that this is something that drags them down a little bit? And we can begin with Lexi.
They got 5 days. The 29th of July is when
Yes.
V3 Esports finally pick up that victory for them because Crest Gaming Act are on the table for them. All right.
Boom.
That's the big break.
That's it.
Play AXZ. Try some stuff out. All right. We worked things out. Now, with Crest Gaming Act on day 13, so we've got a day in between, so they're going to have to take another loss, probably another L. But then we'll find out if they can actually do it. That's literally all I can predict for V3, Lara, because honestly, it feels doomed. Almost as doomed as my camera right now.
Yeah, it's for once, it's not me. Finally, functional internet. I don't believe it. I'm not being murdered by Berlin mobile data. But I think we saw some signs of life. We've seen signs of life from V3 before, and the more times this happens and the more the weight of history continues to get into your head, the harder it is to actually break that losing streak. Because obviously it's now 32 losses on the trot. It is now 10 games left to play before the split is over. And that pressure gets worse and worse. The paranoia gets worse and worse. The graphic gets updated again. And accident to work. You know, it's an appropriate graphic. And I don't know what needs to change, because it feels like you need a refresh at this point. You need something just to shift, because there are some parts.
Bring in my academy, boys.
Bring in a new player. Try it out.
Send them an angry email, Lexi. Oh, maybe that will fix it. Sorry, Sam.
The thing is, you're not hearing any denials. He knows the truth.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, everyone, we have the last game coming up very soon. So we're going to go into a short break before we jump into Rascal Jester versus Sengoku Hawks. So bear with us for a second.